Climbing the highest mountains in the world requires courage. But some mountains are so dangerous that just hearing their names makes even experienced climbers' hair stand on end. Today, we're not just listing mountains, but also the deadliest, most technical, and most terrifying routes up those mountains. Some of them pass under glaciers that hang for meters. In some of them, one mistake means falling into a 2,000-meter abyss. And there's one where 1 out of every 4 climbers loses their life. Now, shall we start exploring the world's deadliest climbing mountains? Our first route takes us right to the heart of the Alps, to the border between Switzerland and Italy. Here, one of Europe's most iconic peaks rises, the Matterhorn, and its north face has written one of the bloodiest pages in mountaineering history. Matterhorn North Face, Hornli Ridge, Switzerland, Italy. The Matterhorn, standing at 4,478 meters, is a high mountain that has become an iconic symbol of the Alps. Its pyramid-shaped peak has earned the admiration and fear of climbers for centuries. The first ascent of this mountain was made in 1865 by a team led by Edward Whymper. However, the victory was short-lived. During the descent, 4 out of the 7-person crew fell and lost their lives. This tragedy further solidified the Matterhorn's reputation. As beautiful as it is deadly. The Hornli Ridge is one of the most popular routes for climbing the Matterhorn. However, don't let the word popular confuse you. This route claims an average of 12 to 15 lives each year. When we talk about climbing, we're referring more to the risk of falling and rock slides than to technical difficulty. Narrow ridges, loose rocks, and extreme crowds make the route a death trap. Moreover, weather conditions can change in seconds. A climb that starts sunny in the morning can turn into a deadly storm in the afternoon. It takes an average of 8 to 10 hours for a climb, and experience is absolutely essential. However, the real danger of the Matterhorn is that too many people climb it inexperienced, thinking it's easy. In large groups, falling rocks from above can lead to chain reactions of accidents. The death rate on the Matterhorn is around 1 to 2%, but this rate is increasing with the continuous rise in tourist climbs in recent years. We're leaving the Matterhorn and heading north toward the legendary Eiger. This time we're heading to a wall located in the Pakistan region, K2 Death Pit, K2 Bottleneck, Pakistan. K2 is the second highest mountain in the world and the most dangerous. At 8,611 meters, it is less high than Everest, but the death rate is almost 10 times higher. There are many ways to climb K2, but they all converge at one point, the bottleneck. The bottleneck is a narrow corridor that passes under a massive glacier 300 meters from the summit of K2. This glacier is a massive ice mass called a serac and could collapse at any moment. In 2008, an ice collapse in the Dardanelles caused the deaths of 11 climbers. This was one of the deadliest days in mountaineering history. The danger of the bottleneck doesn't come only from ice. This region is also the windiest and coldest point on K2. Winds exceeding 150 kilometers per hour can literally lift climbers into the air. Oxygen levels are critically low, and every step means battling extreme fatigue. Moreover, the bottleneck is usually crossed in the dark because climbers are here during their descent from the summit. In the dark, passing under the glacier is an almost impossible task. Every mountaineer who crosses the K2 Strait is taking a gamble in their own way. Some win, some lose. So far, over 100 climbers have lost their lives on this route. The overall death rate on K2 is around 26%, but for the bottleneck itself, this rate approaches 30%. This is not only one of the world's deadliest routes, but also the most psychologically draining. We're flying south, away from the icy corridors of K2, toward the Rupal face of Nanga Parbat. Here, perhaps the most terrifying wall in mountaineering history awaits us. Nanga Parbat Rupal Face, Pakistan Nanga Parbat, at 8,126 meters, is the 9th highest mountain in the world. However, The Rupal Face is the world's largest mountain wall, a 4,600-meter vertical ascent. To put this into perspective, this wall is one of the most difficult and deadliest routes in the history of mountaineering. The first successful ascent was made in 1970 by Reinhold Messner and his brother Gunther Messner. However, this victory ended in tragedy. During the descent, Gunther Messner lost his life in an avalanche, and Reinhold Messner lost his fingertips to frostbite. This event showed how cruel and dangerous the Rupal Face is. The danger of the Rupal Face isn't just related to its height. The wall is a risky place due to constant avalanches and rockfalls. Moreover, the weather conditions are extremely variable. One day it can be sunny and calm, the next day a deadly storm can break out. Climbers often stay on the wall for weeks, setting up camps in the ice every night. The cold, wind, and lack of oxygen turn every step into torture. Climbing the Rupal Face of Nanga Parbat takes an average of 15 to 20 days and is only suitable for elite and experienced mountaineers. So far, more than 31 climbers have lost their lives on this route. The death rate is around 22%, but this only includes experienced climbers, not even mentioning inexperienced ones. Rupal Face is a place where mental strength is tested, going beyond physical endurance. We're dropping off the giant wall of Nanga Parbat and heading north to Alaska toward the Cassin Ridge route on Denali. This is the most challenging climb and the most dangerous route in North America, and the extreme cold makes this route even more deadly. Denali Cassin Ridge, Alaska, USA. Denali is North America's highest mountain, 6,190 meters. However, height isn't the only thing that makes Denali challenging. The mountain's location makes it one of the coldest and most storm-prone places on Earth. Cassin Ridge is the most technical and dangerous route to climb Denali. Cassin Ridge was first climbed in 1961 by an Italian team led by Riccardo Cassin. Since that day, only a few hundred climbers have been able to complete this route. The route is a 2,700-meter vertical ridge that requires continuous ice, snow, and rock climbing. However, the real danger comes from the extreme cold. In Denali, temperatures can drop as low as -40 degrees Celsius, and with the wind chill effect, it can feel like -60 degrees Celsius. Climbing the Cassin Ridge usually takes 7 to 10 days, but bad weather conditions can extend this time to weeks. The climbers set up camps inside the ice and struggle every night not to freeze. Moreover, the combination of Denali's altitude and cold significantly increases the risk of oxygen deficiency and hypothermia. So far, more than 19 climbers have lost their lives on Cassin Ridge. The death rate is around 8%, but this only includes experienced mountaineers. The overall death rate on Denali is around 1%, but technical routes like Cassin Ridge raise this rate to much higher levels. We're flying south from the frigid ridge of Denali toward Patagonia and the compressor route on Cerro Torre. This is one of the most controversial and technically challenging routes in the history of mountaineering. Cerro Torre Compressor Route, Argentina. Cerro Torre is one of the most iconic peaks in Patagonia, 3,128 meters. It may appear lower than other mountains in terms of height, but Cerro Torre is home to one of the most difficult climbs in the world. Compressor Route, first climbed in 1970 by Cesare Maestro. However, this ascent is one of the most controversial events in mountaineering history because Maestro used hundreds of bolts on the route and even drilled holes in the rock with an air compressor. The compressor route is an almost entirely vertical ice and rock wall. The route requires constant technical climbing, and every step demands full concentration. However, the real danger comes from Patagonia's extreme weather conditions. The region is one of the windiest places on Earth, and storms can break out without warning. Winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour can literally blow climbers off the wall. Climbing Cerro Torre usually takes 3 to 5 days, but bad weather conditions can extend this time to weeks. Mountaineers typically set up camps hanging on the wall and wait out storms overnight. So far, more than 8 climbers have lost their lives on the compressor route. The death rate is around 4%, but this only includes experienced mountaineers. Here is the ranking of the world's deadliest climbing routes. Which one would you dare to climb, or which one would you never go near? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe. See you in the next video.